The Federal Aviation Administration convened the first of two virtual public hearings on Monday evening to solicit public comments on SpaceX's plan to launch its Starship rocket from South Texas. The hearing, which lasted nearly 4 hours, drew both passionate support for SpaceX's plans to expand its Starbase facility as well as heated opposition. Limited to comments of 3 minutes or less, nearly 6 people spoke during the hearing over Zoom. Several supporters of SpaceX said they had grown up near Cape Canaveral, in Florida, or around other launch sites around the planet and had not seen environmental degradation in the vicinity. Rohan Joseph, who identified himself as an aerospace engineer, lifelong environmentalist, and birder, cited the protection of sea turtles at launch sites in India as an example of the positive effects of a launch site on an area. He also wondered why SpaceX appeared to be receiving so much scrutiny for its launch site when there was a former oil drilling site in the vicinity, or, if the environment was so pristine, why nearby South Padre Island had been allowed to be built up. If SpaceX were an oil exploration company, there would be no questions asked, Joseph said. A number of supporters also cited the project's ability to inspire a new generation of Texans. Gail Afar, a registered nurse in Texas, works with children in schools, and she said their eyes light up when the topic of SpaceX is raised. Austin Barnard, who said he has lived in Brownsville his entire life, recalled growing up in South Texas without any sense of hope for the future. The community is now embracing the idea that there is a new dawn for humanity, Barnard said. I find it awe-inspiring and beautiful. A city commissioner from Brownsville, Jessica Tetro Khalifa, noted that before SpaceX's decision to move to South Texas in 2013, the area was the poorest community in the United States. By coming to the region, she said, SpaceX has changed everything, from the perception of the region to its economic outlook. The company now employs more than 2,000 people locally, she said. Opponents to the SpaceX proposal generally fell into two camps. There were local residents who were primarily worried about the company's disruption to their community and environmentalists representing various organizations. The local concerns included frequent closures of State Highway 4, which leads to Boca Chica Beach, noise from launch site activities, potential property damage, and rising home prices. Becca Hinojosa, a local resident, said the FAA violated Title V of the Civil Rights Act by not providing Spanish-language materials in advance of the hearing. She also said the company's actions have been very destructive to the community and that local renters and homeowners are at risk of being driven out of their residences due to rising prices. Sharon Almaguer was one of a handful of residents of Port Isabel, which is located a few miles from the SpaceX launch site across South Bay, who expressed concern about damage to her property from noise and acoustic effects. A draft assessment published by the FAA found this would not be a significant issue. This is a project that is profoundly going to change our area, she said. Please do your job and stop it. Several Texas environmentalists, such as Jim Chapman of Friends of the Wildlife Corridor, cited concerns about endangered species that were being disturbed by SpaceX's activities. They often repeated similar remarks, which appear to originate from this document of talking points. Generally, these critics urged the FAA to require SpaceX to complete a full environmental impact statement, a process that would likely require years and perhaps push SpaceX to look elsewhere to test its Starship launch system. Jim Langley, who identified himself as a geologist, said, "In my time in geology, I've never seen anything like this. I want to see a proper environmental impact statement done." In addition to wildlife concerns, these opponents said the FAA's draft environmental assessment has not characterized impacts from proposed facilities to support launches, including a power plant, natural gas pretreatment system and liquefier, and a desalination plant. With only a few exceptions, the pro and con comments made Monday evening were thoughtful and congenial. The FAA will hold a second public hearing on Wednesday. If you enjoyed the video, hit subscribe and like down below if you enjoyed.